New World already had one giant failed update, but how about another giant failed update potentially? Let's see.
New World, for anybody who doesn't know, is actually getting a massive expansion. They are increasing the level cap, they are adding in new dungeons, they are increasing the item cap, and they are changing a lot of things with the game. They are changing a lot of the end-game activities, improving them, and so we'll take a look at what this video...
Okay, so first of all, I would like to say this one thing about New World. It doesn't matter how many new armor sets, how many new mechanics, how many new dungeons, how many new continents you add in New World. As long as they don't fix the fundamental problem of combat being trash, the game's not going anywhere, honestly, okay? I think one of the blatantly easiest fixes, by the way, in New World for combat would be just buff everything's attack speed by 25%, just default. And the game would feel so much better and smoother. Because in New World, when you're killing something really fast and instantly, it feels good, okay? You feel like a champion, you feel like a hero. But, on the flip side, if you're not killing something in 2 hits and you actually need to engage in prolonged combat with it, it feels bad. It really does.
About.
New World is an MMORPG
and they're adding
that's
mounts.
had an interesting lifespan so far. During the beta phase, the red flags were obvious. The game released
No, they weren't, because nobody would listen to me. Nobody would listen. To be fair, Lazy Peon also was making the same videos that I was, and we were both getting shit on by the community.
September 2021, and
I mean, it makes sense. It was the first Amazon game everyone wanted to believe. Literally, how can $1 billion, well, multiple $1 billion in reality game fail? Well, turns out it can easily fail.
Initially at launch was insanely fun until about level 30 or so, then it just fell off a cliff, with many people discovering game-breaking bugs, turning New World into a meme goldmine overnight. The devs didn't give up, though.
I don't think that the bugs had anything to do with why people quit playing. I don't.
That's true. They were funny.
I think the reason why people quit playing is because it was too repetitive. Like, that's straight up why. And, like, leveling slowed down so much.
I don't even know if there's a storyline on... there is some kind of main story, but I don't know what it is about. It's about a hot chick, and that's kind of it, I guess? I'm not sure. Like, the story is non-existent, and if you don't know that the story even exists, I understand you, because I'm honestly in the same boat, okay? The story is just not there, and the quests, well, they're kind of fast on one hand, but, you know, there's a lot of things to be desired.
They went away and started addressing issues one by one, leading to the game having a major resurgence in player numbers for its first major update, Brimstone Sands, in October 2022.
Small correction on that. The update, the increase of players was actually because of the fresh servers. And New World did like this whole huge event.
Oh yeah, true.
And it was actually the fresh server event that happened after Brimstone Sands. But the fresh server event happened like maybe a few weeks or a month after the Brimstone Sands patch. They fumbled the event too. Yeah, there were some problems with it.
I mean, they kind of have fumbled everything, but that's okay.
Since then, New World has been rather quiet.
People are really excited
over the
about
course of the past year, it's been losing players again month on month, which is mainly due to no new big content.
Well, let's see. Let's see where it's at right now. Charts.
It has nothing to do with no new content. It's the fact that the content's so repetitive. Even at the end game, your best content is literally running one dungeon, you know, till you exceed the dungeon cap, and that's how you upgrade your gear. I don't even know how you're actually supposed to find the end game raid scenarios, because no one actually, you know, people make a group, they wait 5 minutes, no one comes, disband the group, and then they it's like the game literally does not support enough players at this point to actually make dungeons viable. That's the brutal honesty.
17K, I feel like, yeah, it's gone up a bit, but it usually does on weekends. Not a lot to impress me there. And it looks like the game, you know, is at 18,000. Like, now it's pretty much not that great. And it's just kind of chilling, you know? actually not bad. No, it's not awful, no, but it's not great either, you know?
It's pretty bad if it being real.
Yeah, for an MMO, it's not doing super great. And I think there's a lot of reasons to that, but it's not like it's a dead game, but it's definitely a very small niche game that a lot of people...
True.
I think the worst thing about New World is the fact that so many people tried New World and they didn't like it, or they had a bad experience. And like once somebody has a bad experience playing a game, they usually don't want to go back and try it again after it improves. And that's what's happened with, I'm trying to think, like, that's what happened with WoW. Like, that's what happens with a lot of WoW expansions, is like the expansion comes out, it's fucked up, they fix it, people don't...
I mean, the reason people don't come back to WoW expansion is because at this point they have released like 5 bad expansions in a row, and Dragonflight is supposed to be good, but it has complicated mechanics in it, like this, like the talent tree is way too hard for the average person to even comprehend. So people don't want to come back to it because they don't even believe at this point that a good expansion for World of Warcraft is possible.
Come back, right? That's just how it is. And Diablo 4, right? They improved Diablo 4 a pretty considerable amount. It's still not great, but it is improved at least. And nobody gives a shit because people have already decided that the game's bad. It's like once gamers make their mind up on something...
I mean, that's cope. Diablo 4 has not been improved by a lot. It's still a pretty shit game, all things considered. Again, I don't think they're even addressing the fact that, you know, some skills are just borderline unusable, that are supposed to be main clearing skills and whatnot. They're just borderline literally unusable. The devs are not even addressing that part. And I don't think they ever will at this rate. You know, Sorcerers forever until the end of time is gonna only have ice shards that are an actual usable build. And everything else is just 20 times weaker.
It's very hard for them to change it. No Man's Sky and not old school RuneScape, like Final Fantasy 14,
No Man's Sky is getting a resurgence because of the fail of Starfield. It's literally pushing people in it because, you know, No Man's Sky now has stuff in it, so yeah.
These are the exception, not the rule.
The MMO releases, and players just running out of stuff to do.
People are stubborn? Well, it's not that people are stubborn. People don't like changing their mind. Because changing their mind means that they were wrong. And people don't like admitting they're wrong. People would rather double down on an opinion that they know is wrong,
semi-valid in this situation,
rather than change their mind.
Though New World has announced its first real expansion, Rise of the Angry Earth, which will bring massive fundamental changes to the game, increase the level and gear score cap, as well as finally add mounts to the game. In this video, I'm going to discuss everything you need to know about the New World expansion, as well as jump into the game now in its current state to prepare my character for the new content, as well as see what other cool changes have been added to the game over the past year.
Yeah, I think the trailer, by the way, was really good.
First, today's sponsor, Dragon Raja.
I mean,
Dragon Raja is an anime-inspired MMORPG powered by Unreal Engine 4 that's available to play cross-platform on Android, iOS, and PC. Dragon Raja's just...
Oh no, we skipped the ad.
Linked below. So download Dragon Raja using the link in the description and join in on the action today. Download now. So the last time I played New World was during the PTR for the Brimstone Sands expansion. I didn't actually play the game when the expansion fully launched, because my main server was dead due to everyone playing fresh stuff.
I love to hear that. Because remember what I said about how people quit the game and they don't come back because their server's dead? It's so funny that I was right. Because it was fucking obvious. Like, it's not...
It's basic. We already know that this happens constantly.
Not even any sort of, like, fucking Nostradamus. Wow, big surprise. People don't want to play an MMO whenever nobody's playing on their server.
We have talked about this so many times.
And I really didn't want to start again. I log into the game and I immediately see people spamming X egg in the chat. So I did the same thing and got invited to a 20-player raid group. If you played more than a year ago, you'd know that you couldn't make raid groups in New World previously.
I haven't made a raid
The
before.
max group size was...
Well, the reason that is because the game literally cannot handle more than 5 people on screen, because their servers are optimized on average for like 5 people playing at a time, because, you know, again, that game.
5 players, so straight away I was surprised and happy with this change. We basically went around the map in this group and did some seasonal daily event called the Siege of Sulphur, where you protect eggs from waves of mobs and get good rewards. Pretty cool, and I'm a fan of any content that brings players together in an MMO. Basically, within minutes of logging in, I was in a massive group of players doing massively multiplayer things.
Yeah, that's cool.
I like that.
I actually think that the outdoor like content for New World, like, it can be kind of bad because of like the friction with like players like running into each other and like spell effects. But I actually think things like chest runs are really cool. I like chest runs. I am a chest run enjoyer, and I thought they were a unique.
I mean, that is, well, it's boss runs in the Guild Wars too, but yeah. That thing has existed for a long time.
Type of gameplay that New World had, and I even kind of like their events too.
So I wanted to finish off getting all weapon masteries to level 20 to prepare for the new expansion.
I should probably do that.
I only needed to level the greatsword and blunderbuss.
I did it exactly here too. Yep.
So I looked online for the best strat, and the current best method is to do this repeatable Thorpe events at this area in Great Cleave.
Stupid.
It was here where I stumbled upon another new addition to New World, augments, which are basically...
People are... I didn't know about this. I thought people are... Well, maybe they just... Maybe that place is just the best for fire staff. But, you know, the coastline near the 3rd dungeon? You know, it's the pirate ship place, you know, it's the place with the pirates. That place. Yeah. I thought everyone's doing that place. Huh.
Boosters that you can
those
buy
2 places, I guess.
Off the cash shop. The most significant ones, in my opinion, are the weapon XP and gathering XP boosters, which basically double your XP. Strongest. You've also got season XP and territory standing boosters, which do a similar thing, and a proficiency booster, which increases your gathering yields by 10%. If these boosters were in the game at launch, everyone would be complaining that they were pay to win, and rightly so. I guess the game's been out long enough at this point that most people have capped gathering and weapon masteries anyway, so it's not a big deal.
I think it's, that's true. It's the same thing as in like Wayfinder, and I think that apparently, I don't know if Warframe does this too, people told me that it did, is that they sell you some of like the base items that you can get, but anybody who's playing the game seriously at all, like, already has this, and it's easy for them to get them. And so, like, for most people, if you played New World, this wouldn't have really affected you. Yeah, it doesn't matter, exactly. And so, like, this, like, the gathering yield, I think, is kind of stupid, but the other ones...
Well, it's still pay to win. There's no way to deny it. It's 100% pay to win, no matter how you try to slice it. But it's true. Does it matter? No. Other people can't affect you, so, you know, it doesn't matter the fact that, you know, they have an advantage and you don't. You can also buy it if you want, but there's no need. I think that's the best pay to win, you know. Pay to win is pay to win, but if it doesn't affect you and you don't even know it can affect you, I think we're fine.
I don't really care about that much, because this is something that you would have just done as an outcome of playing the game.
Either way, I popped the weapon XP booster and got both weapons to 20 mastery super fast at the Thorpe spot. Another nice change, if you hold Control plus C and left click, you can spam click to very quickly salvage all of your crap. You'll be doing this a lot during your time playing New World. The next amazing change to the game since the last time I played is the addition of multiple gear sets loadouts. This was one of the most requested features to be added since launch, and I'm happy to say it actually works very well except for one caveat. The thing I love about New World's gear set system is storing gear in these templates actually removes it from your inventory.
Whoa.
Which is
it makes it so it doesn't take up weight.
Nice, because if you've got 3 to 4 different gear sets, your bags would be an absolute mess
it's
otherwise.
Really nice.
The caveat here is that if you want more than 2 gear set storage, you need to buy it off the cash shop for...
Which, I don't think this is really going to matter a lot.
This is going to matter a lot. There's no way you don't actually buy this, because two slots are just not enough.
Whenever the expansion comes out. Because the reason why you would want to have multiple gear sets is for ward gear. And ward gear is being removed from the game. So, like, now, it's like one of these weird things where, like,
Well, rip everyone who bought 10 additional gear slot sets, because...
I think it's kind of shitty that they sell these now. But I think that whenever they make the change in the expansion,
it's
this
not
actually
gonna
won't matter at all, and it will have no impact on a normal player.
Roughly $5.
So it will get better.
I started working my way through the Brimstone Sand.
I mean, Asmongold's doing a real good job by, defending pay to win here, I'm not gonna lie.
MSQ, and realized I was earning season XP.
I admittedly, I kinda agree that these are not the biggest things in the universe, but, it's still pay to win no matter what.
Basically a battle pass you can work through, which gives various rewards such as furniture, skins, gypsum, currency, and so on. Your typical battle pass, love it or hate it, it is what it is. At least it gives players at endgame something to work through once they've completed everything else, I guess. As I was questing through Brimstone...
A battle pass, like, who gives a fuck? I mean, like, in my opinion, I wish that instead of a battle pass...
Weren't you the guy who was crying about Diablo 4's battle pass, like, I don't know, not even a month ago? Why is New World's battle pass okay when it's clearly, by the way, way more pay to win than Diablo 4? But Diablo 4 battle pass is Badman. Like, can we have a shred of consistency here?
They added rewards to different NPCs out in the open world, like different cosmetics, to get people to, like, go out and do that. But I guess Battle Pass kind of achieves that in another way. I think that it's stupid to just, like, hate Battle.
By the way, New World's Battle Pass is one of the worst in any game, because it has a lot of pay to win in it. But the problem is, a person that has never played the game is going to just look at the Battle Pass and be, like, more confused than anything, because nothing in the Battle Pass makes sense.
Battle Passes categorically. But whenever I have that opinion, I don't want anybody to think that I like them. I don't, like, anytime that I see there's a battle pass, I just look at, okay, what do I need to do out of this? Okay, I'll just go do this, that's it. Like, I don't get excited. Like, battle passes are not content to me, if that makes sense. Like, battle passes do not move the needle at all, one way or another.
I don't understand, honestly, where have we actually gotten this idea that battle passes are considered content? They're never considered content. Like, devs don't even add them as content. What the fuck?
Another on how I feel about a game or what I do really in a game that much. Like, maybe a little bit. If I'm very invested in a game, I'll do, like, a little bit extra stuff to get the battle pass. Better than that,
Sure, buddy. Keep on coping.
There were a few things going through my mind. Number 1, the greatsword feels way more fun and better designed than every other weapon in the game. Number 2...
Well, is that true? Probably. I mean, like, I like the hammer. I think the hammer's pretty good too. I really like the hammer.
Obviously, you would like the hammer, you noodle arm man.
I really like the hatchet too. I'm not a fan of the rapier, but I know a lot of people like it.
I like the hatchet. I did want to like the rapier, but honestly, it feels flimsy. A rapier should be, like, sharp, precise, fast, and deadly. Instead, we got weavy. I think the rapier can be best described as weavy, without a lot of sharpness.
I think that I feel like a lot,
and it's way too wide.
A lot of the weapons play very well. I think the problem really is just tuning. Like, for example, a lot of people don't play range in PvE, and I think that's a huge problem. And they're addressing this with the expansion.
I like range, honestly. I think the Fire Staff and Ice Gauntlet are pretty fun, honestly. I kind of like it. I probably like the Fire Staff more because the Ice Gauntlet's, like, the sentry is a must, I think. But, whatever.
But, like, I would, because like in a high level like mutations, almost everybody that plays mutations that I've seen at least videos of is playing with like a hatchet, a greatsword, or a great axe for DPS, right? And like you have maybe one person.
Well, hatchet is ridiculously good for DPS. Let's be real.
With the spear for the spear does a debuff, and so you.
Spear was my first level 20.
Need to have the debuff, but other than that, you know, you're pretty much using the same melee weapons. So I feel like I wish that the ranged weapons had.
Oh, by the way, you know what they actually need to fix about New World? When you get to level 60, you have literally no fucking clue what you're supposed to do, where you're supposed to do it, and what even direction you're supposed to go into. That's what happens when you get level 60. If lucky, you somehow get to the sands, and you do the legendary weapon quests, right? If you're lucky. Literally, if you're lucky. But the reality is, no one knows what to do if they're a new player. And you can't even find what you want to should be doing on YouTube. It's like, what do I do at level 60 in New World? You write that in, and you get a bunch of videos, which all are bad. Like, the best video that I found that explained to me what I should be honestly doing at level 60 was like a 40-minute fucking video where the first 25 minutes of the video were useless and didn't provide information. They were random. It's just so bad. The New World needs some kind of player guide that actually directs you in the direction that you need to do stuff. Otherwise, it's just so painful.
More value in PvE.
2. Visually, the game is still one of the best looking MMOs out, and the sound effects are best in genre. And 3, the general movement in New World feels so fucking scuffed at times that the game's
True.
I genuinely do not know how it's this bad. It's actually impressive how bad it is. And like I had to pause just to like make emphasis on this, that the movement and collision in New World is simultaneously some of the best and some of the worst collision.
True, the climbing is the best.
Every MMO and in all
Jumping
video games
fences,
I've ever played.
Best.
And what I mean by that is that climbing in New World is, I think, one of the best
obvious stakes are obvious.
Designed climbing mechanisms in any MMO that I've ever played, any game I've ever played. I actually think the climbing of, like, you know, for example, getting up to that top area with like those 2 chests on it and brimstone sands feels so fucking amazing. It's actually so
the
well
Colossus
designed.
Thing.
But on the other side, or climbing up that big tower, what's it called, Malevolence in Eden Grove, I think. Like, that is just fucking phenomenal, right? But fighting against an alligator and having the alligator knock you through a fucking piece of wood, and then you're like going like this on non-stop because like, the game doesn't know where you are. That's so bad, it's embarrassing. It's awful.
Still feels like it's in alpha in some places.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Like, you still can't swim in New World. Still feels like it's in alpha in some places.
He goes like this, he goes whoop.
Like, you still can't swim in New World. Your attacks will very frequently just not register when hitting mobs.
Yeah.
Relentless.
I think that there's something with the registry of this game. And I think there's a problem where, like, the game readjusts your character based off of where the game thinks your character is.
Oh, obviously.
Or there's some sort of, like, weird fucking tech that goes on with this. Because it's so...
But to be fair, I haven't experienced this problem a lot. I have experienced this problem barely. I don't know, maybe I'm lucky, I don't know.
So bad. And I've never seen it any other game.
Rush with the greatsword is a great example
like
of this.
Constant
it's
desync.
A double hit ability where 50% of the time only one hit.
By the way, why is there a pheasant there? Well, at least he's gonna get some free poultry from this.
Will register.
Look at
Any
that.
form of slightly elevated terrain in a combat area will make your character desync, and the actual running animation in this game feels so scuffed to me. Like, the run animation is faster than the speed you actually run. I don't know what it is, but it just looks off. Also, when you
that does look bad. I never even noticed that.
log into the game after...
And if you run with a weapon drawn, you might as well literally just make a noose and end all of your sufferings, because life is never going to be worth it.
After playing any other third-person RPG, you just feel like New World should have a sprint, but it doesn't. I kind of wish the game did have a sprint.
I do like doing that, though. I do like doing that with a spear in hand.
Honest, but right now my biggest issues with New World is definitely with the movement, inconsistent combat, desync.
I think the combat feels shitty.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like
the biggest problem.
Combat,
without question, that's the problem. When you first go to New World and play, and you're one-shotting a mob, it feels amazing. But after you don't, and that's when the problems start. Because the moment you're not one-shotting something in New World, it's just, wow, this feels so bad.
Like, fighting against a level 7 boar feels great.
And missing a skill is the worst thing ever.
But actually, like, New World, actually, here's a good way to say it. The more seriously you take New World combat, the more you'll hate it.
Yep, makes sense.
It's worse than Dark Souls 2.
I continued questing through the Brimstone Sands, eventually fully completing every quest in the zone, including the side quests. And I have to say, when it comes to questing, New World has come a very long way. This is a game that was notoriously dogshit for questing back at launch. Every quest was go to this POI, loot crates, get item, run halfway across the map and repeat. But now it's much more varied, there's some actual story.
Bro, fighting this fucking goat. You would get to right here, and this fucking goat would spawn, and it was like, it had like this affix, and it said like something like, likes to headbutt, or something like that, and he would headbutt you, and he would knock you off, and then you would have to go back and do the...
I mean, I haven't seen this, but yeah, that was my guess. That's literally my guess what's happening here. Why do you think it's... Actually, this is rams, not goats, probably. But why do you think they are there? Why do you think they are there? I mean, it's blatantly obvious.
The entire thing over again. And the worst thing about it is that the goat dropped a really good fucking helmet. So then I had to sit there and refarm. His prefix is pushy. Yes, exactly. The fucking affix he has, he's pushy. So I sat there and I killed this goat like 70 times.
Good.
And narrative interwoven into it. There's puzzles, climbing quests, more varied enemies, quests.
I mean, I wish there weren't puzzles, if I'm being completely honest, but that's just me.
Rewards are actually decent now.
Yeah.
The difference is night and day from launch, and I actually consider New World's questing to be pretty good nowadays.
The Brimstone Sands questing is good.
It's as shit as everything else, in my opinion.
Also, another fact is that it is fully voice acted.
New World is the only game where I have literally not even read a single line of quest dialogue. Not a single one. Because it's just, well, you know, main story quest dialogue. Not a single one. I have no idea what's happening in New World. Literally. It's like a good looking place, but it's like, I don't give a shit. It's just like, they made the world some magically how just feels so, I don't want to care about it.
Acted. Every quest is voice acted.
Next, I did the Ennard dungeon and was quickly reminded that I do actually enjoy dungeons in New World. And I think in terms of visuals,
this is one of the worst fights that's ever been made, by the way.
Of the most epic looking dungeons in the MMO genre. I spent some time sorting through all my storage and selling stuff to free up some space for the new expansion. If you haven't played since launch, storage in New World is all connected now rather than local to each town.
Yeah, and you still can't search your storage. Well, you can't technically search your storage, but it's so bad.
Yeah.
Which means storage management is much less of a pain in the ass nowadays.
It's still stupid.
I'm assuming they probably can't do this because they're, is there a roach on my leg?
Hopefully.
Where'd they go?
To lay eggs?
I saw him on the wall a minute ago. Whatever. So yeah, the fucking the storage, right? I think they should just make it to where like you have one big storage rather than you have to open up each one, because I find it to be kind of annoying.
Obviously,
that like I have to put like, because you guys, if you played New World recently, this is probably what you did, right? Is you would put all of your leatherworking stuff in one zone,
storage,
and you would put all of your mining stuff in another zone, something like that. It's fucking stupid. You should just have them all combined, and as soon as you discover a new area, it should just be added to your total inventory.
And tools now go up to legendary 600 gear score, and will likely go higher for the new expansion.
Of course.
So I replaced all of my blues with legendary.
It's gonna go to 700. Which, by the way, I don't think 700's high enough if they had the same scaling. I think one of the problems with New World, especially at level 60, is that you don't really feel, or like, I don't really feel like you get that much stronger after you hit 60.
Yeah, true, but I would say that's a good thing. You know why? Because if they do this super scaling thing, well, it's gonna be the World of Warcraft route, where an expansion comes and congratulations, all you did now is literally gonna be replaced by a piece of gray gear. Not good, not great.
Like, a lot of the item perks don't really feel super great, and apparently they're fixing that with artifact level weapons and artifact items, but yeah, like, because you just go from 600 to 625. It's not enough, man.
Full set of instruments, made a gear set for healer, strength, dex, and mage, then checked out another highly requested feature that's finally been added to New World.
Literally
a full transmog system comparable to games like Guild Wars 2 and World of Warcraft, where you unlock the appearance of all dropped gear. There is one caveat to this though, because of course there fucking is. Basically, to actually transmog gear, you need transmog tokens, which can be bought off the cash shop.
Of course.
5 tokens costs like $10. So if
will you look at how this works? Game gets the microtransaction cash shop. Suddenly, that game gets an expansion. Man, I'm seeing some kind of, coincidence here. I'm seeing some kind of strange pattern, if you will.
If you're constantly changing your outfit, it's not cheap. Just to clarify, once you've unlocked something once, you don't need to spend more money to reapply it again. It is permanently unlocked for you to use as a skin at any time. But for additional skins, you'll need more tokens. Something that
sounds really stupid.
Yep.
Instantly pissed me off with this
but what did you want from
is
Amazon?
That the preview window to actually view your appearance is dog shit.
If you AFK in this game, they literally send you a fine for not playing the game properly, and then you have to pay the fine.
And depending on the time of day, like nighttime for example, you can't actually see the colours properly, which is annoying because you definitely want to get a good look at how your character will look before committing to spending money.
That's a good point. Yeah, I wouldn't think it would matter that much, but the fact that you have to spend money to do it makes it even more annoying.
Yep.
You can also earn tokens in game. How easily though?
Very
Please
hard,
improve
probably.
the transmog character preview window. After that, I solo queued some 3v3 PvP.
So this is the thing, by the way, about games that I never get to talk about. But if a game is dead, whenever they add something that's a microtransaction, but there is a way to farm it in the game, I instantaneously assume the way to farm it in game without paying money is shit, or they have nerfed it to the ground. Because dead games need to make money, and well, that's the easiest way to do it, right? But if a game is popular and it has a system like this, I don't think it's gonna be that bad, because enough people are already buying it. So the microtransaction is going to be kind of fair to the way that you farm it naturally.
Arena, and despite never doing it before, was surprisingly less tryhard and more fun than I expected. I'm glad I was able to just solo queue this rather than manually find other players, otherwise I probably wouldn't have bothered.
Yeah,
it was quite enjoyable and rewarding enough that I'd definitely play it again. I spent a bit of time leveling up my music skill, which seems to have had the experience per level heavily reduced since the last time I played the game. And finally, I took on a seasonal 10-player boss, which wasn't overly difficult, but it was fun because the rewards were good. The boss had a few mechanics, and it was easy to join a group by just Xing up in recruitment chat. It seems like New World's actually making a bit of a push to more traditional MMO-style raid content, as aside from the 10-player seasonal raid boss, there's also a 20-player instanced Sandworm raid boss that, as of making this video, is apparently the hardest boss in the game.
And he's still really hard, right? Like,
no
my
idea.
understanding is that the Sandworm fight is actually pretty hard.
Unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to do it yet as I can't find a group, but it looks super cool regardless.
That's cool. Yeah, you have to look up and shoot those things that are in the air. That's actually really fucking badass.
Yeah, that's
so
pretty
next,
good.
let's discuss all of the info you need to know about New World's new
Oh shit, we still haven't gotten there? Oh, nice.
upcoming expansion,
Great video,
Rise
Peon.
of the Angry Earth. First of all, this expansion will release on October 3rd
Oh, it has a
alongside
price.
Season 3 and will be a paid expansion, costing $29.99. New players will be able to buy the base game plus the expansion in a bundle for $69.99. This expansion comes with a new...
I don't like when games that are shit ask money for an expansion. I feel if you make a shit game, you should be by law prevented from asking money for an expansion, because you made a shit game and now you're asking more money for potentially more shit. I'm not okay with that.
Zone.
That's cool. Let me see that again. Oh, this is in First Light. Yeah, okay. No shot. No, I really don't think $30 is a big deal.
Well,
Like,
it's
this
not,
is a
but it
buy-to-play
should not
game
be even.
that's had multiple updates for free. Like, I really don't think a $30 expansion 2 years after the release is a big deal, guys.
I mean, that's a shitty opinion. I don't think $30 is honestly that big of a deal, but again, I don't like the fact that it even costs money because of the shitty game that New World is, okay? And it has a microtransaction shop. Dude, Asmongold's opinions are like, okay, money doesn't matter, I'm a millionaire. Dude, soon he will stop lying that he spends only like 3K in a month. Oh no, excuse me, 2.5K. Man, at this rate, bro, remember, you gotta farm that relatability thing, you know? Be like Mudahar, remove the Rolex when you're doing a video so, you know, the plebs don't think that you're rich. Farm it, dude.
Remember First Light, the zone south of Windswood? Yeah, that zone no longer exists. It's fallen to the Angry Earth and will be transformed to the Elysian Wilds, completely unrecognizable from the place it was before.
Yeah,
Mounts
nobody
are
went to
finally
First
being
Light.
added to New World
True.
and will come with a new trade skill called Riding, which you'll be able to level up for upgrades to speed, buffs, and higher tier mount consumables. Mounts will come in the
That's a
form of
cow.
horses, direwolves, and lions initially, with more likely to be
Okay.
added over time. You'll be able to name your mounts and
They will 100% instantaneously sell mount skins. Or just unique mounts with unique shit. I'm calling it right here.
also deck it out with customizable equipment, which will undoubtedly be sold on the cash shop.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you could put armor on the mount. That's badass.
The fuck is this
A new
weapon?
weapon will be added
Oh.
to the game in the form of the flail, which can be
I was like, what? What is this? I thought I missed the weapon, Jesus. I was like, well, look at this. This looks cool.
used either one-handed or with a shield. The flail scales with strength and focus, and has abilities
Strength
that can
and
debuff
focus.
enemies and absorb ally damage, making it a
Strength and focus? Well, finally.
solid choice as a secondary for both tanks and healers from the sounds of it. Progression in New World will also be changed quite a bit. You'll be able to level up your character to 65, gear score will now go up to item level 700, trade skills up to 250, and the devs are completely removing the expertise system, which means there's no tedious barrier to entry grind that new players will need to go through to get decent loot. The new
Yeah,
zones
the expertise thing
What is the expertise system even? Is that the dungeon thing? I don't know what it's called.
was fucking stupid. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
it
have
was the
improved
dungeon
a lot
thing.
of those systems. Thank God, yeah. And then, like, you know, as an in-game player, like, the ward system was so stupid, too. Like, you were basically farming 4 sets of gear with the same stats, except one stat was different, because there's a different mob type that you're
Good
fighting.
times, good times.
Yeah, it was the most artificial playtime increase that you could...
I didn't do it, but I actually like systems like that on a theoretical level. But then New World did not do it right. Like, if you find a game that does that right, by the way, you would actually appreciate the system. But New World just doesn't do it right.
could possibly imagine. It was so stupid.
straight up drop gear that's 625 or higher.
Yeah.
And the hardest...
Because the concept is very simple. You farm different gear for different situations. And that's kind of cool, because that takes you all over the world. You farm different things, you know. Essentially, but New World does it very poorly. You know, it's trash. Let's be real. A game that does it correctly, though, RuneScape. It creates situations where you want to use old gear and things like that, you know. RuneScape does it correctly.
Content will drop the best gear, as it should.
Yeah, Mythic
There's also
3.
going to be a new tier of faction gear, new faction quest line, and a new rare...
I wonder what gorillas are reskins of. I really have a hard time imagining that New World actually made new, you know, enemies. Oh no. The New World is like Starfield. There's like 3 enemy types, and congratulations, have fun.
Rarity of gear called...
Damn, so that's an artifact item.
Artifacts, which will need to be awakened via a quest line to unlock up to 6 perks, with one of them apparently being placed on a
which one was
quest
the
and a
perk?
new...
What is this here? So you have to kill a bunch of mobs. Okay, well, I mean, like, who gives a fuck about this?
Yeah,
I mean, this is the exact same way that
the...
remember, like, you would have to do the quests in order to get, like, those 580 item level weapons at the beginning of the game. I did the quest line to get, like, the Azure Ravager, like, axe or some shit. So this is basically the same thing again.
Rarity of gear called artifacts, which will need to be awakened via a quest line to unlock up to 6 perks, with one of them apparently being playstyle defining, which is quite interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
There's also going to be quite a few apparently being playstyle defining, which is quite interesting.
Invigorated vigor, shrug off. I think that's the new one. Is that the new one? I'm not sure. Yeah.
By the way, all of these things are so boring. They're so boring. I'm not gonna lie, they're just boring.
That looks cool.
There's also going to be quite a few revamps to the game. The most important...
Only 32 attributes, one more than 625? No. 625 is 26. 31 is only from two-handed weapons. And actually, it's not 625, it's 623, which is the breakpoint that takes your secondary, your primary stat from 25 to 26 or from 30 to 31. It's actually not true.
One, in my opinion, is the removal of Ward, Bane, and
I understand
Resilience
what Steve said, but I don't care.
Which just wasn't fun, and I'm so glad to see removed.
Thank God.
As well as the main
garbage.
storylines of both Eden Grove and Great Cleave also being revamped.
That's good.
Aside from that, the expansion brings with it...
I'm glad they're adding that, because those are the two, like, you remember how they did, like, the 1 to 35 experience?
No.
Like, like, Great Cleave is, like, 45. So, like, they're making it to where, like, the leveling experience will just be better.
Okay.
A new level 62 plus expedition, a new Heart Rune ability, a new season with events such as Night Vale Hallow and the Turkey Terror, as well as a bunch of other stuff.
They're adding Turkulon again?
Overall, after revisiting New World for a bit to prepare for the new expansion, as well as looking into all the positive changes that will come with the expansion, I really think New World is heading firmly in the right direction, and I've actually had a decent time.
I think New World has been...
Just give it 10 more years and it's gonna be almost a game.
And going in the right direction for 6 months. But after going in the wrong direction for 2 years, it's going to take them a while to break even. I hope this expansion is where they do. And I actually think that New World is an enjoyable game right now. It's just that I would recommend somebody, if you want to play New World right now, make sure that you play on my server. My server's Marama, it's Marinara, some fucking bullshit, some stupid fucking name. It's Marama, something like that. If you see it, you'll know what it is. Play on a very populated server. Play on a populated server with a lot of people, and you will probably...
Yes. There's literally not a single reason to play on the low pop server.
Enjoy the game.
So far, returning to the game.
At
My
least
main
until
issue
60.
with New World is still that the movement and animation feels off sometimes, as well as the inconsistency with the text registering, and the game still not having swimming. but almost every other issue I've had with the game over the years has been resolved, and now with the addition of mounts, improvements to progression, large-scale groups, and transmog, the game seems better now than ever, so I do think it's worth jumping back into for the new expansion, because even if you don't stick around long term, you'll likely get a few weeks of fun out of it at the very least. But that's it for this video. As always, let me know your thoughts on the current state of New World. Will you also be returning to the game for the new expansion? What else do you think the devs need to do to improve the game? Social media on screen, help us out with a like to appease the algorithm gods. Thanks for watching.
Yep, like my video, boys. Remember, it matters.
And I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, I'm excited to play this whenever it comes out. I'm gonna play the expansion on day one.
I'm not gonna play it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna wait for people to talk about it.
Level up to 65, do the content, complain there's not enough of it. And that's really what it's gonna be, man.
No. You're gonna level, then you're gonna complain that the content is boring shit and the leveling's bad. Then you're gonna get to max level and you're gonna complain that the new content is bad. And then after all of that, you're gonna complain that there's not enough of the shitty content. Wanna bet that's how it's gonna work out? Because it will.
Do I have to buy the expansion if I bought the game whenever it came out? Well, you don't have to buy the game again. I mean, you have to buy the expansion, sure, as soon as you buy any expansion. But no, you don't have to like re-buy the games. It's only like $30. Looks good on buying it. Yeah, I think it looks fine, right? I like it. I think that people that are unhappy about the $30, again, they don't ask for a sub. There's been like,
but they do add a microtransaction shop, which most likely is gonna be predatory, and you know. They're gonna most likely add more stuff. Dude, how long do you think it's normalized until we get to the Fallout 76 level of gameplay? If the shop literally just sells you, you know, stuff that you should be farming in-game. How long? How long do you honestly think that's gonna take? But in any case, I guess we're done. This was Kuzer Said, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.